No one expected the youngest Von Trapp child to be the first to pass away, and the one who once said, "Music is life," spent their final years in complete silence. What happened? The way they look now will truly shock you. Julie Andrews as Maria. Julie Andrews was born on October 1, 1935, in Walton-on-Thames, England. When she was 30 years old, she took on the role of Maria, the spirited postulant who brought music and love into the Von Trapp household, turning a cold mansion into a warm home through songs like "My Favorite Things." This role marked the peak of her career, showcasing her angelic voice and natural charm. But Julie's life wasn't all glitz and glamour. She married set designer Tony Walton in 1959, had a daughter named Emma, but the couple divorced in 1968 after ongoing differences. True love found her in 1969 when she married director Blake Edwards, a lasting relationship that endured until his death in 2010. A tragic turn came in 1997 when a botched vocal cord surgery robbed her of most of her singing voice, plunging her into deep sorrow. Still, she found joy writing children's books with her daughter, often spending hours at her desk scribbling down ideas. As of 2025, Julie, now 89, continues to shine in California, inspiring many with her resilience and love for the arts. Christopher Plummer as Captain Georg von Trapp. Christopher Plummer was born on December 13, 1929, in Toronto, Canada. When he was 36 years old, he portrayed Captain Georg von Trapp, the stern father who slowly softened under Maria's influence, delivering a heartfelt performance with Edelweiss. This role highlighted his rare talent. But Christopher's life was a dramatic tale in itself. He married 3 times, finding lasting peace with actress Elaine Taylor in 1970 after a stormy past. With his previous wife, actress Tammy Grimes, he had a daughter named Amanda, though their relationship was often strained. He battled alcoholism in his younger years, which slowed his career, but he overcame it with sheer willpower. A lover of Shakespeare, he often spent hours in his study, drawing inspiration from old books. Sadly, Christopher passed away on February 5, 2021, at the age of 91 in Weston, Connecticut, after a tragic fall. Charmian Carr as Leisel von Trapp. Charmian Carr was born on December 27, 1942, in Chicago, Illinois. When she was 23 years old, she played Leisel von Trapp, the dreamy eldest daughter who charmed audiences with 16 going on 17, capturing both innocence and a longing for freedom. The role was the brightest highlight of her career. But Charmian's life had its quieter, more somber chapters. She married dentist J. Brent in 1967 and had 2 daughters, but the marriage ended in 1991, leaving emotional scars. She left acting behind and found solace in interior design, though she quietly struggled with depression, especially after her mother's passing. She loved attending fan reunions, sharing behind-the-scenes memories with a warm smile. Sadly, Charmian passed away on September 17, 2016, at the age of 73, in Los Angeles, California, due to a rare form of dementia. Nicholas Hammond as Friedrich von Trapp. Nicholas Hammond was born on May 15, 1950, in Washington, D.C. When he was 15 years old, he brought to life Friedrich von Trapp, the responsible eldest son who rediscovered youthful joy through Maria's music, helping warm the family's bond. This role was the beginning of a long journey for him. Nicholas's life turned into an unexpected adventure. He married Laura Soley in 1978, but they divorced in 1984 and had no children. He later found quiet happiness with Robin Nevin, a private yet steady relationship. In the 1980s, he struggled financially as acting roles dried up, prompting a shift to stage directing in Australia. He loved collecting history books and often wandered through dusty bookstores in search of treasures. As of 2025, Nicholas, now 74, lives peacefully in Sydney, Australia, occasionally appearing at public events. Eleanor Parker as Baroness Elsa Shrader. Eleanor Parker was born on June 26, 1922, in Cedarville, Ohio. When she was 43 years old, she portrayed Baroness Elsa Shrader, the elegant and calculating woman who became Maria's romantic rival, delivering a subtle performance full of quiet heartbreak. This role was a gem in her vibrant career. But Eleanor's life was a novel of many chapters. She married 4 times and found lasting love with Raymond Hirsch in 1966, a relationship that endured for the rest of her life. She battled arthritis, which brought her pain and limited her acting work, but she always wore a proud smile. Passionate about painting landscapes, she spent hours at her easel, letting colors soothe her spirit. Eleanor passed away on December 9, 2013, at the age of 91 in Palm Springs, California, due to pneumonia. Angela Cartwright as Brigitta von Trapp. Angela Cartwright was born on September 9, 1952, in Altrincham, England. When she was 13 years old, young Angela played Brigitta von Trapp, the smart, book-loving daughter known for her sharp eyes and blunt observations, lighting up the family scenes with her wit. This role was a defining childhood milestone. Angela's life became a colorful canvas of creativity. She married Steve Gullion in 1976, had 2 children, and they remain happily together. As a child star, she struggled to transition into adult roles, but she turned challenges into opportunity by pursuing photography. She has a love for black and white photography and often roams around capturing candid, everyday moments. As of 2025, Angela, now 72, continues to glow in Los Angeles, California, thriving as an artist and occasionally reminiscing about her Brigitta days with a gentle smile. Heather Menses Urick as Louisa von Trapp. Heather Menses Urick was born on December 3, 1949 in Toronto, Canada. When she was 16 years old, she portrayed Louisa von Trapp, the mischievous girl with a love for pranks who eventually warmed up to Maria, bringing a touch of innocence to So Long, Farewell. The role was the first bright light in her career, but Heather's life was a blend of joy and sorrow. She married actor Robert Urick in 1975, had 3 children, and then lost him to cancer in 2002, leaving her in a quiet grief. She later battled brain cancer herself, fighting bravely, but ultimately succumbing. Passionate about charity, she spent years raising funds for cancer research in memory of her husband. Despite what seemed like happiness, she once spoke about the financial hardships she faced after Robert's passing. Heather died on December 24, 2017, at the age of 68 in Frankfurt, Canada, from the devastating illness. Dwayne Chase as Kurt von Trapp. Dwayne Chase was born on December 12, 1950, in Los Angeles, California. When he was 15 years old, young Dwayne brought to life Kurt von Trapp, the funny son best known for the line, "I'm incorrigible," and his high note in So Long, Farewell, brightening up family moments. The role was the peak of his short acting career, but Dwayne's life followed a quiet path. He married Petra Maria in 1987, had no children, and they lived happily in a small town. Stepping away from acting, he pursued geology, a choice that surprised many. He loved mountain climbing, often spending weekends in deep forests, finding peace in nature. As of 2025, Dwayne, now 74, still lives in Washington, working as a scientist and leading a simple life, occasionally reminiscing about his days as Kurt. Peggy Wood as Mother Abbis. Peggy Wood was born on February 9, 1892, in Brooklyn, New York. When she was 73 years old, she portrayed the wise and compassionate Mother Abbis, whose soaring rendition of Climb Every Mountain inspired both Maria and audiences to find their courage. The role earned her an Oscar nomination. But Peggy's life carried a melancholy tune. She married William Walling in 1917, had 1 son, but they divorced in 1933. Her second marriage to John Weaver lasted until his death in 1966, leaving her in solitude. She struggled with heart disease, which slowly pulled her away from the stage. She found comfort in poetry, often writing by the window to soothe her soul. Peggy died on March 18, 1978, at the age of 86, in Stamford, Connecticut, from a stroke. Debbie Turner as Marta von Trapp. Debbie Turner was born on September 5, 1956, in Arcadia, California. When she was 9 years old, young Debbie brought to life Marta von Trapp, the gentle daughter who loved the color pink, melting hearts with her innocence in the family singing scenes. The role became the gem of her childhood, but Debbie's life turned into a quiet journey. She married Rick Larson in 1985, had 4 daughters, and they remain happily together. Leaving acting behind, she found her passion in interior design and floral work, creating warm and inviting spaces. She loved gardening, often tending to roses in the early mornings, letting their scent ease her mind. Though she faced no major scandals or illnesses, she once spoke about the pressure of growing up with fame from her role as Marta. As of 2025, Debbie, now 68, remains healthy in Minnesota, continuing her creative pursuits and occasionally recalling her time as Marta with a radiant smile. Richard Hayden as Max Dweiler. Richard Hayden was born on March 10, 1905, in Camberwell, London, England. When he was 60 years old, he portrayed Max Dweiler, the witty yet opportunistic friend who brought laughter and refinement to the Von Trapp family, especially when helping them escape. The role showcased his unique talent. But Richard's life remained a mystery. He never married, lived alone, and kept his private life under tight wraps, sparking curiosity about unseen relationships. He enjoyed voice acting, most notably in Alice in Wonderland, and had a passion for collecting antique paintings, even though it cost him dearly. He struggled with heart disease in his later years, which led to fewer public appearances. Richard died on April 25, 1985, at the age of 80, in Los Angeles, California, from heart failure. Kim Karath as Gretle von Trapp. Kim Karath was born on August 4, 1958, in Los Angeles, California. When she was 7 years old, little Kim portrayed Gretle von Trapp, the adorable youngest daughter whose bedtime kiss melted hearts in the family's musical moments. The role became the light of her childhood. But Kim's life took some unexpected turns. She married Philippe Lequilbec in 1985, had 1 son, but divorced in 1991, leaving her to face some difficult times. She found joy in the arts, turning to painting and teaching, using color as a way to heal. She also faced anxiety, a journey she has openly shared to help others. As of 2025, Kim, now 66, still occasionally shares stories of her time as Gretle, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. Anna Lee as Sister Margaretta. Anna Lee was born on January 2, 1913, in Itham, England. When she was 52 years old, she portrayed Sister Margaretta, the gentle nun beside Maria, bringing warmth and soft humor, especially in helping the Von Trapp family escape. The role highlighted her charm. But Anna's life was filled with trials. She married 3 times, finally finding peace with writer Robert Nathan in 1970, only to lose him in 1985, leaving her in quiet sorrow. A car accident in 1980 left her partially paralyzed, yet she continued to act with resilience. She loved writing letters by hand, often sending carefully penned notes to friends as her way of staying connected. Anna died on May 14, 2004, at the age of 91, in Beverly Hills, California, from pneumonia. Daniel Trujitta as Rolf. Daniel Trujitta was born on September 10, 1943, in Sacramento, California. When he was 22 years old, he portrayed Rolf, the charming telegram delivery boy who wooed Leisel with the sweet duet 16 Going on 17, only to later break hearts by betraying the Von Trapp family. The role became the defining moment of his career, but Daniel's life played out like a lively musical number. He married actress Tiani Warden in 1994, but the couple divorced, and he later found happiness with his current wife, Marisa. Passionate about musical theater, he frequently appeared on community stages and passed his love for performing on to his students. During the 1990s, he struggled financially following a failed business venture, yet his optimism carried him through. As of 2025, at age 81, Daniel still teaches musical theater in North Carolina. Porsche Nelson as Sister Bertha. Porsche Nelson was born on May 27, 1920, in Brigham City, Utah. When she was 45 years old, she played Sister Berta, the strict nun often critical of Maria, who ultimately proves her loyalty by helping the Von Trapp family escape. The role showcased her multifaceted talent. But Portia's life was a more complex symphony. She never married, choosing to remain single in pursuit of singing and writing, though loneliness sometimes found its way into her soul. She loved composing music, with her songs echoing on Broadway stages, telling stories that mirrored her own. In her final years, she battled throat cancer, a challenge she faced with remarkable courage. Portia passed away on March 6, 2001, at age 80, in New York City, New York, from cancer. Marne Nixon as Sister Sophia. Marne Nixon was born on February 22, 1930, in Altadena, California. When she was 35 years old, she took on the role of Sister Sophia, the kind-hearted nun who added warmth and humor to the convent's scenes, especially during discussions about Maria. The role became a bright spot in her career, but Marnie's life was marked by quieter, hidden melodies. She was married 3 times. Her marriage to Ernest Gold brought her 3 children but ended in 1969, leaving her to face many difficult years alone. A lover of classical singing, she was famously the ghost voice for many stars, though she often went unrecognized. In her final years, she battled breast cancer, yet remained upbeat to the end. Marnie passed away on July 24, 2016, at age 86 in New York City, New York, from cancer. Ben Wright as Zeller. Ben Wright was born on May 5, 1915, in London, England. When he was 50 years old, he portrayed Herr Zeller, the cold Nazi officer whose piercing glare brought tension and conflict to the story. The role fully displayed his talent for playing villains. But Ben's personal life was a much calmer canvas. He married Muriel Jones in 1948 and had 2 children, but her death in 1980 left him in deep sorrow. A fan of voice acting, he lent his voice to 101 Dalmatians, and he loved playing chess, often spending hours over a game board. In his later years, he struggled with heart problems, which gradually pulled him away from acting. Ben passed away on July 2, 1989, at age 74 in Burbank, California, due to complications following heart surgery. Norma Varden as Frau Schmidt. Norma Varden was born on January 20, 1898, in London, England. When she was 67 years old, she played Frau Schmidt, the stern but kind housekeeper who brought subtle warmth and refinement to her quiet moments with Maria. The role was a gem in her long and varied career. But Norma's life was a gentle song, tinged with sorrow. She married George Smith in 1921, but after their divorce, she never remarried, choosing solitude even as it sometimes left her feeling empty. She loved the stage and often performed in community theater, a way to keep her passion alive. In her final years, she struggled with heart issues and declining vision, though she always wore a hopeful smile. Norma passed away on January 19, 1989, at age 90, in Santa Barbara, California, from heart failure. Time has changed them in ways we never imagined. Some faces faded, others transformed beyond recognition. But their legacy in the Sound of Music will always sing on. Which cast member surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more classic TV throwbacks. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Goodbye.